And welcome everyone to an edition of Child Behavior. And alright, so as I say, every time we're focusing on the disorders, this disorder, dyslexia. So let's understand what dyslexia is, and then when we understand what it is, we can say how to deal with this disorder. Okay, right. All right. So, what is dyslexia? Dyslexia is most commonly associated with trouble learning how to read. Meaning, let's say the word harbor, it would be spelled for them HRBR, something simple like that. Kids with the dyslexia have a hard time with the decoding words, and with their strategies, with help, they'll be able to read. Okay, and it is, it's 80 to 90% with kids with learning disorders have it. So, and let's discuss now what are the signs, right? Obviously, the first thing we need to know is the signs of dyslexia. Now, one of the signs are struggle with learning even simple rhyming, having a speech delay, have trouble following directions, repeat or omit short words such as and, the, and but, find it difficult to tell left from right, meaning from the one side to the right side. And in school, which is important, these kids have the ability to have difficulty of the sounding of the words, obviously, and the lack of fluency. They also reverse the letters, like for example, as I said before, let's say harbor would be spelled HRBR, and they'll reverse the words like saw was. Like let's say a person saw the child, they'll read it like a person was the child. Wouldn't make sense, would it? And they would find it difficult to take notes. They would struggle with rhyming, stumble, and have difficulty spelling even for the common words, which, as I said, HRBR is harbor. Avoid being called out to read. They don't want to be out loud because they're going to be embarrassed, and they're going to become frustrated. And they become frustrated pretty easily. It also affects outside school. They can have signs like a stop sign, and they can't read it that well. Struggle when trying to learn the rules of a game, right? Like let's say basketball, shoot the basket in the hoop. They could have trouble with that. Have difficulty keeping track of multi-step directions. Struggle with getting the hang of telling time. Find it especially challenging to learn another language, or they'll become frustrated, which can affect their mood, emotion, and stability. All right. Now, the social and emotional impacts of dyslexia. It can be very impact of the child socially. A dyslexic person who has the difficulty of word finding, it's a very big difficulty. When you know how to read, you feel good about yourself. Kids with dyslexia, they don't know how to read that well, and that's why you need to help them more. So, how it is diagnosed? Well, first of all, you have to perform an evaluation. Sometimes you're not happy with the evaluation. That's fine. You get your own psychologist or a neuropsychologist, a reading specialist, speech and language therapist can do it, an educational evaluator, or a school psychologist, and this, evaluation can get it pretty well. When should the child be evaluated, right? We want to know. The child should definitely be evaluated during preschool time. The earlier the better, as I say, because as they grow older, it could be worse. Now, at least the child should be at least 6 years old, because before that time, really, you don't really able to tell how to help kids with dyslexia. So one of the things to help a kid is have a lot of sensory and the coding skills. One of the things is repetition. Keep on repeating it, and it gets into the head finally, or reviewing. The child reviews. The intensity of intervention, that is more than being pulled out of the class once a week for extra help. He should be pulled out at least more than once. Should be in small groups or an individual instruction, like 7 kids in a class. The words should be the drilling sight words, they should be take one word at a time. Teaching comprehension to help kids get the meaning from what they're reading. And these are the different methods that are very helpful for them. The Wilson method, the Orton-Gillingham approach, preventing academic failure, which is called PAF, P-A-F, the Linda Mood Bell program, and RAVO. Now, fine. Accommodations for kids with dyslexia. Okay? So, you have this kid with dyslexia, and how could we accommodate in school for these type of things? Okay. And that's pretty simple. Give them a private place to work where it's quiet because they need more concentration. Extra time on the tests, which is because they need it. They can't write as quick, and they have to think a lot more than the normal individual. And as well, they should have the option to record the lectures, which is very, very good for them because they'll be able to review it by the sound, and that's excellent. To give a verbal rather than written answer on the test, when appropriate, that is. Elimination of oral reading in class. An exemption from foreign language learning, like let's say they're learning Spanish, they should be they shouldn't be involved because it's going to be too hard for them to do it. I'm not saying it's not doable. It is doable, but you don't want to put too much pressure on that child. You want to put a pressure on the child just enough to help the child that's going to make him be successful. Now, there's other things that could help your child with dyslexia. Listen to audiobooks, typing on a computer instead of writing on it, or it could be a tablet as well. The apps that can make learning fun by turning decoding into a game. Using a ruler to help kids read in a straight line. So let's say you have a ruler, right? You have a ruler, then let's say this is a ruler. You use this as a ruler, this envelope as a ruler, right? Let's say make believe this is a ruler, it's straight, so it makes them focus, it keeps them focused. Now, what is some of the emotional support? Dyslexia can result in a lot of frustration, embarrassment, and avoidance, and low self-esteem, right? The kid could think, hey, I'm dumb, I don't know how to read, right? Which kid doesn't know how to read? All right. So it can make them look dumb. So what is the things we could do? Let's say he has a challenge. And so you tell the child, you have a hard time reading signs or copying notes from board. And you know what that is. That's dyslexia. And now, sometimes that's a good idea and sometimes that's not a good idea. You have to know when it's a good idea, when it's not a good idea. You should acknowledge the child's effort, even though he may have not done so well, but you see that he's doing, excuse me, that he's doing a well job, right? That he tried. You say, I know how difficult reading homework was, and I'm proud that you tried very hard. Help him recognize the strengths. Great job on that team, right? Combat negative talk. If a child says, let's say, I'm just dumb, don't ignore it. And you should, again, check these ideas to help him be able to cope, because he's definitely not dumb. And dyslexia affects all types of kids. Kids who are intelligent, smart. You could be smart, you could be not so smart. It won't matter. The smartness won't matter. So that's what I'm telling you today, that I was discussing here, dyslexia. And again, let's review the main points. Dyslexia is when the child can't read straight, mixes up the words. Doesn't matter how smart they are, it's still going to affect them. It's 80-90% of disorders, and it's the signs of dyslexia are struggle, and they have a speech delay, and they struggle with the rhyming, reversing letters, fluency. They don't have the fluency as children their age. They have a stumbling part in the spelling, and they avoid being read. They don't want to read. They avoid being called on. And it's also, as well as outside school, as I said, they can find it difficult to decode logos and sign, or struggle when they're learning the rules of the game, or they'll struggle with getting the hang of time, or they'll become so frustrated, which can affect their emotional and stableness, because once they're emotionally, it could lead to stable sometimes. Now, some kids, when they have dyslexia, they have low self-esteem, which is what we're going to talk about, how to help that. So dyslexia obviously is diagnosed by performing evaluation on the kid, as I said, and the child should be evaluated by preschool time, 6 years old. And how to help them, multi-sensory stuff is going to help. Repeating it, as I said. So that's what I basically discussed in dyslexia. If you have a question on a child behavioral issue that may worry you, please reach out to me, and I will try to answer your question. And if you want to, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. So if you want to message me, you can follow my group, Child Behavior, the Child Behavior group on Facebook. And I'll be more than happy when you contact me request. I'll be more than happy to answer it. And as well, you can send me a message and let me know what else I could talk about. Again, the next few weeks I will be discussing about disorders. And this week I discussed dyslexia, and hopefully next week is going to be a different topic. And so that's what's going to be next few weeks. We're going to discuss things that have to do with disorders. And I hope you enjoy it. And hope you have a great week ahead. And I hope to do this next week again. Thank you for listening.